If you're feeling alone right now, this is not an accident. God does his deepest work in isolation, and most people never understand this season until it's over. When everyone around you is celebrating the new year with champagne and confetti, but you're sitting in silence wondering why God feels a million miles away, something powerful is happening that you can't see yet. I know what you're feeling. While your social media feed is flooded with New Year parties and people surrounded by friends, you're experiencing something different. That deep, aching loneliness that sits in your chest even when you're in a crowded room. You've been praying, waiting, asking God why this season feels so heavy, so quiet, so isolating. But what you're experiencing right now is not abandonment. This is divine isolation. Your separation isn't rejection, it's preparation. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you will completely change how you see this season. You're going to understand why God removes people before he elevates you, why this hidden season is shaping your identity, and why the silence isn't absence, but the sound of God working. You're not forgotten. You're being positioned. There's a massive difference between modern loneliness and divine isolation. Modern loneliness is feeling surrounded by people, but still empty. Hundreds of followers, but no real connection. Divine isolation is when God intentionally removes the noise so you can finally hear his voice. You're not lonely because you lack people. You're alone because God is removing noise. Moses didn't meet God in a palace. He met him when life felt wasted. Before God could use him to lead millions, Moses spent 40 years in the desert. That wasn't punishment. That was preparation. In that isolation, God shaped him into someone who could stand before Pharaoh without fear. And this next part is what most people miss. The isolation wasn't about taking things away. It was about revealing who Moses truly was without the external noise. When you feel like God is removing people from your life, he's not leaving you empty. He's removing distractions, dependencies, and false identities built on what others thought of you rather than what he says about you. Elevation always begins with separation. Every person who walks away, every door that closes, it's not random. God removes what he didn't assign so you can fully receive what he has prepared. If this resonates, you're not the only one feeling this way right now. Let me tell you about the hidden season, that space between the promise and the manifestation. When God is working, but nothing visible is happening. When you're praying, but the heavens seem silent. When you're believing, but the breakthrough seems distant. Stay with me, because this changes how you see this season. The hidden season is not wasted. You don't build strength on the stage, you build it backstage. David wasn't hiding in caves because he failed. He was being shaped. Joseph received the dream, then came the pit and the prison. Jesus spent 30 years in obscurity before 3 years of public ministry. The hidden season is where God shapes your character to match your calling. Public favor requires private faithfulness. What God is preparing you for is too big to be built in front of an audience. And in this hidden season, you're experiencing God's silence. That silence that makes you wonder if he's listening. But listen carefully. You're alone because God stayed. God's silence is not God's absence. Silence is often the sound of preparation. When a mother is pregnant, there are months of hidden growth. From the outside, you can't see what's happening. But inside, in that quiet, secret place, a miracle is being formed. That's what God's silence means. He's actively working in the unseen, preparing you for what's coming next. And if you understand this, the isolation will stop hurting and start making sense. Why does the new year feel harder for some people? While some celebrate in public, others are being processed in private. Not everyone gets the same timeline. God works on his own timeline, not the calendar's. Sometimes God extends a season because the work he's doing in you isn't finished yet. But here's what I've learned, and this is crucial. God works deepest when life gets quiet. Muscles don't grow during the workout. They grow during rest. The transformation happens when you're recovering. The same principle applies spiritually. God is doing His most transformative work in you right now, in this quiet season, in this isolated space that nobody else can see. When life gets quiet, when distractions fade, that's when you can finally hear God's voice with clarity. That's when identity gets revealed, moving from isolation to identity. Isolation has a purpose. It's to discover who you are when nobody's watching, to build a relationship with God that isn't dependent on circumstances, crowds, or convenience. When you're stripped down to just you and God, something powerful happens. You stop performing. You stop pretending. And in that raw, vulnerable space, God begins to reveal your true identity. Who are you when nobody's applauding? That's the question God is asking you in this season. Your true identity isn't found in what you do. It's found in whose you are. The isolation you're experiencing right now is God removing every false identity so your true identity can emerge. Someone you know needs to hear this message. Keep watching. Now let me tell you something that might sting, but it's truth. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. We often interpret closed doors and removed relationships as God's punishment, but that's not what's happening. God positions people before He promotes them. He isolates them before He elevates them. Every setback is actually a setup. Every loss is making room for gain. Joseph's brothers didn't ruin his life. They redirected it. When they threw him in that pit, it looked like the end. But from God's perspective, that pit was the pathway to the palace. Everything Joseph went through was preparation for when Pharaoh would say, "You're in charge of everything." What looks like punishment in your life right now is actually God positioning you for something greater. That job you lost? He's positioning you for the right opportunity. That relationship that ended? He's positioning you for the right person. But here's something else, and this is where freedom comes. The cost of carrying people God didn't assign to you. Some seasons feel heavy because you're carrying weight that was never meant to be yours. You're maintaining relationships that God already released. You can't run a race carrying extra weight. Every unnecessary relationship is slowing you down. God didn't call you to carry everyone. He called you to carry your assignment. Jesus only had 12 disciples. He often withdrew from crowds to pray alone. He understood that divine purpose sometimes requires divine separation. If God is removing people from your life right now, stop fighting it. Release them with grace and trust that God knows exactly who you need for the next season. What God is preparing you for requires solitude. Your calling is so significant that it can't be built in a crowd. It requires you to be alone with God, to hear His voice above all other voices. Elijah didn't hear God in the earthquake or the fire. He heard Him in the still, small voice, alone in that cave. Moses met God at the burning bush, alone. Paul received revelation in the Arabian desert, alone. Jesus prayed in Gethsemane, alone. Every significant calling in Scripture was birthed in solitude, because public calling is sustained by private obedience. What God is preparing you for is bigger than you realize. It's going to require faith, wisdom, and character you haven't developed yet. And all of that happens in the secret place, in the hidden season, when it's just you and God working together in silence. So if you're feeling alone this new year, let me tell you what's really happening. You're not stuck. You're being rooted. You're not forgotten. You're being fashioned. You're not abandoned. You're being prepared. This isolation is not your punishment. It's your promotion ground. This silence is not God's absence. It's the sound of Him working on your behalf in ways you can't see yet. You're not alone because God left. You're alone because God is removing everything that would distract you from hearing Him clearly. You're not overlooked. You're being prepared for overflow. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. When someone has only God, they don't collapse. They transform. They become unshakable. They become powerful. They become exactly who God created them to be. And when they emerge from that hidden season, it's undeniable that God did something extraordinary. If this word touched your heart, type in the comments, "I'm being positioned, not punished." Let that be your declaration. If this message blessed you, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Someone out there needs this word, this hope, this reminder that they're not forgotten. Isolation is where God removes everything you don't need so you can finally become who you were meant to be. God is with you in the silence. He's working in the waiting. And He's preparing you for something so much greater than what you've lost. Trust Him. Trust the process. Trust the isolation. Your breakthrough is coming, and it's going to be worth the wait. God bless you.